But first, our top story brings in news from Alaska Airlines as it makes a move that will allow them to fly Amazon cargo, announcing the acquisition of Hawaiian Airlines. Air Cargo editor Eric Kulisch is here to fill us in. Eric, thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Anthony.
It's great to hear from you, Eric, as always. Let's talk about this because this is kind of the biggest acquisition we've seen in the air cargo space in quite a long time. And honestly, I would not have bet money on Alaska acquiring Hawaiian Airlines. Talk to us about this and if it surprised you as much as it surprised me.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Alaska and Hawaiian are premier, well-known passenger airlines. But there's an underlying cargo component that most people don't realize. But it did kind of surprise me. I saw the news come across yesterday afternoon, and the more if I thought about it some, it actually isn't that surprising because there's more consolidation efforts in the airline industry, just because 80% of the market's kind of controlled by United, American, Southwest, and Delta, and so you kind of need some of that scale just to compete. And I think Alaska is considered the 5th largest airline, but they're kind of more of a mid-tier airline. Hawaiian's kind of more of a niche player, but Alaska's kind of Pacific Coast or West Coast oriented. They're kind of originated out of a state like Alaska. Hawaiian originates and focuses on Hawaii. So, their networks are kind of complementary. It gives Alaska access to Asia. And so all that's, kind of from the passenger standpoint. But the interesting part for us is a logistics publication is that Hawaiian Airlines just started in October flying a freighter for Amazon Air, moving packages within their domestic network. And so they're going to get eventually 10 Airbus A330 freighters leased or handed over to them from Amazon over the next year, and they'll be adding those to their fleet and flying those. And so now Alaska Air is going to basically inherit those, and as best we can tell is what they say they're gonna fly them. But obviously there's questions exactly how that would happen or how Amazon would react to this. So who knows if there'll be any changes down the road.
And Eric, we're looking at this deal, it encompasses a lot. Let's jump into some of the financials aspects. How much was this deal worth and what goes into it all?
Yeah, it's a $1.9 billion sale by Alaska. I think it's an all-cash sale, but the stock value, $18 per share, is about $1 billion, and then they're taking on some debt of Hawaiian. So that's the financial aspect of it. They're looking to close, I think, in about a year to 18 months, once it passes regulatory hurdles. And, there's some question exactly how the Biden administration will handle this because they've been very, kind of consumer oriented, trying to, stop, this trend of businesses getting bigger and bigger. And so they just, they were able to block JetBlue's kind of Northwest alliance with American Airlines, and they filed suits against JetBlue and the Spirit Air merger. So that we're expecting a ruling in court this week. So we'll have to see. It would seem that this is the type of alliance or merger that doesn't disrupt the market that much or isn't too much concentration. So you would think they would allow it, but it's hard to tell.
So, Eric, what is Alaska Airlines' current cargo strategy like, if they have a decent cargo strategy? And then how does that compare with what they're getting at Hawaiian? Is it just kind of almost like a no-brainer addition, the ability to get Amazon business without necessarily having to go directly through Amazon?
Well, Alaska is interesting. They're the only U.S. until Hawaiian just arrived on the scene with cargo planes. They're the only U.S. airline currently with a dedicated freighter fleet. So they have a small fleet of Boeing converted 737-700 aircraft, which is kind of an unusual. The 700s haven't been used much as freighters, and they just received their first 737-800 freighter last month. So they're going to have 2 of those. So that's 5 of these narrow body freighters, and they're mostly used to move salmon and seafood and other, commodities between Alaska and the lower 48, or, within the continental U.S. mostly. So, it's kind of a different, smaller type of cargo airline than someone like a Lufthansa might have that goes globally. But now they're adding these Hawaiian Airlines wide body freighters that, in theory can go anywhere, but, a lot. And that's kind of a closed network just for Amazon. But interestingly, the CEO on the investor call yesterday said, this is an interesting opportunity for us, and we explore maybe getting into freighters or cargo even more. He kind of floated the idea that if they like this, they might add some more freighters, either for their to sell to other customers, or expand cargo operations, or even maybe to fly more for Amazon or for someone else, kind of on a dedicated contract basis.
Definitely some big news here. And Eric, before we let you go, can you also tell us about the stories coming out from UPS and some investment news coming up here?
Yeah, UPS, I just was heading to sleep last night. They announced that they're going to be adding Hong Kong as a big hub for them. So I believe they do already operate a modest-sized facility out of Hong Kong International Airport, one of the biggest cargo airports in the world. They already have a hub in Shenzhen, China, so this just doubles down on that region of the South China area, and the fact that e-commerce and cargo continues to grow out of there. So they're going to make an investment in expansion in Hong Kong by 2028, and that follows on DHL Express. They're just expanding their facility in Hong Kong. I think they doubled the size. They completed the 3rd phase of an expansion. So just shows that, cargo business is pretty strong out of that greater China area, even though the overall market at the moment is in a bit of a lull.
Eric, any details on the financials of that investment, or is that still waiting to be seen?
I didn't see a number on it. I'm sure it's quite substantial, hundreds of millions of dollars, but I'm not exactly sure. Waiting to hear back on the dollar figure on that.
Eric, thanks so much for joining us this morning. When we're looking at, of course, this UPS deal, is there any timeline that is out there so far when we're looking at how long this might take or how it's going to develop, or is it something that has yet to be revealed?
Yeah, I think I saw 2028 is kind of the expected completion timeline. So, that should be, barring any delays.
We'll keep an eye out for that. Eric, thanks for being here this morning. We'll talk to you soon.
My pleasure.